Hello, everybody, and hail Satan. Today, I'm going to talk about sobriety. Uh, when we get into sobriety at the first, we're going to have a little bit of problems. I know I did, and I'm a human being, so I know that if I have problems, there's going to be other people that have problems in the beginning. In the beginning, I was, I didn't have a routine, nothing that ever, like, distracted my mind, and I clung to the rooms helplessly. There was no future with me in the beginning of my sobriety. There was only destruction, the drinking and using meth. Uh, I was trapped in alcohol for 27 plus years, meth for 10 plus years. I say plus years because I don't remember the exact date. I'd have to look back, which I don't like doing. Um, I'm sober now because I have made a decision to remain sober. And I remember at the first of this video, I talked about routines. I have routines. One of them is shaving my head. I'm probably not going to do that today because I feel lazy and I don't want to cut myself. Yeah, when you shave your head, you have to be wide awake. But now you're saying, hey, wait a minute, don't you got to have a routine? This is where it comes in. Have multiple routines. Like I have to read. I'm going to read no matter what. I mean, there's days that I haven't read, but nothing happened. Uh, I didn't feel, oh my God, I didn't read. Am I going to stay sober? No, because part of this staying sober has to want to come from a need to stay sober. You can't want to do anything. I mean, it's nice to want to do something, don't get me wrong. But if you need, there's more emotion there. You're going to be able to be sober if you have the need. Uh, I remember when I got in, I was wanting to. Don't get me wrong, I'm a human being. I was wanting to stay sober. The word that I didn't know at the time, even though I learned it in school, but the word I wasn't realizing, I should say, at the time was I need to stay sober. I mean, in a way to look at it, how to begin, I can tell you a little bit about what happened to me. It was tearing up my life. Um, I didn't have anybody in my life. Nobody liked me when I was intoxicated because I wasn't a good person to be around while being intoxicated, just like everybody else. I don't know, some people are the life of the party, but I knew I wasn't. No, whenever I got intoxicated, people did not want to be around me. I've had my ass kicked because of it, because I wouldn't leave. Uh, I've been beat up more times drunk than I have sober. You know, and when I look at that, I got to think for myself. I got to be like, do I want anybody in my life? And if I do, then I've got to work on the attitude. And I look at where the attitude comes from. So if I know it comes from intoxication, then I know I need to get away from that if I want people in my life. I got my wife. I got her mom and dad, which makes two. I got her brother, which makes one. That's only four people in my life. But those are four people that I really cherish and I really love. And I would die for them. if it came down to it, because they took me in at the beginning of my addiction, uh, and they, well, my wife knew that I wasn't living a good life. I mean, she didn't quite know everything that was wrong with me at that time, but she understood enough about me. She must have seen something in me that said change, or and then love at first sight, no matter what. Uh, yeah, she took me in. She talked to her dad first. Her dad said yes. At the beginning of that, I I remember drinking. I did relapse. But where that all came from, I guarantee, is because you see, if you're trying to quit something, but you keep calling yourself a name that describes that something, if you still find you're addicted, if you're getting addictive thoughts and stuff like that, then the reason why is because look at it. Okay, let's say the drinking part. I want to stop being an alcoholic, so why do I keep calling myself that? Why do I keep calling myself an alcoholic for? I should be a former, if anything, because when you're trying to get away, there's only one real good way to get away, and that is to not call yourself names that are associated with something that you're trying to get away from. Same with the meth, the addict part. I keep calling myself an addict. No wonder. I mean, is is there nowhere we can escape it? Yes, there is, though. I have a solution. The routines. That's why I say I have multiple, because one, like me, wanting to shave my head this morning, I'm not going to do it. I'm just too lazy. Like I said, I'll cut myself. But I've got books, I got video games, I got a bed I got to make, I got trash I can take out, which I've already done. I don't have any trash right now. I just did that before I made this video. But if I want, I can. I don't have to, but if I want to, I can mop my floor. Uh, sweep it first, but then I can mop it. Um, the dogs. I got dogs. I can go and pet them if I want to. I got rings right here. I can look at them all day long if I want to. Uh, got my talisman. Uh, got this computer I'm making a video to you guys on. That's another thing I could do. Like you guys could do too. I mean, hey, anybody that has got some form of sobriety and a technique that works, there's nothing wrong with sharing that. Like me, I don't go to the rooms anymore. But there's only one reason for that. Is because I have decided I want to quit. Like anytime that I think about alcohol, which is very, 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 very rare. But when I do, it feels like I gotta throw up all of a sudden. I'm like, yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I don't have an appeal for alcohol anymore. And meth was pretty easy to quit. When you don't know whether or not you've got fentanyl, and especially if you're a shooter, um, you shoot some fentanyl, you better hope your body can survive. Because if it can't survive, then you might be having some problems and might need to seek medical professional help immediately. Uh, yeah, because fentanyl is a killer. And especially you got something in you that's wanting to make you go fast but slowing you down at the same time, you can arise to heart problems. And that isn't good either. I've experimented and I have made myself feel like shit because of experimenting mixing alcohol and methamphetamine together. I've never gotten a hold of any fentanyl, and I'm glad I never did. Like I said, you can die from that. And yeah, uh But when you're addiction, you really don't care. But if you're really trying to not be addicted, like I said, it's got to be a need. It can't be anything else but that. And you got to have routine. Routine, like I said, is a big part. Uh, thing I like to do, I like to study into things too. I can go into religion. If I want to know how a country was founded on its principles, I can look into that. And only go towards things that you know are the truth. Like me, you see, like I said before, Satanism, the Satanic Bible, is what helped me get to where I am today, where I realize I don't need meetings. If I want to quit, I can quit. And that's all there is to it. Like I said, you got to have a need. I mean, envy it. Envy. Another good thing to do is envy these people that got sobriety. Envy them. So you'll want to have that with what they've got. Or here's how another thing too. I shouldn't say what they've got. It's hear what they have to say to build your own routine to where you can do it. Because you can't cling on to anybody either. Even though I'm saying these things and hoping somebody will listen, I can't expect you to cling on to me because if you do, then you're not really paying attention to how sobriety works, and you might be falling into some snares. Because it's an easy thing to do, especially like I said in the beginning. I mean, holy shit, whew, it was hard to stay sober. I told my wife every time I relapsed, and I tell her what I'd relapsed from alcohol, and uh, yeah, but it still didn't make me feel good. I still feel like shit because I was like, hey, I drank. I was like, man, I basically betrayed. It's what it feels like to me is betrayal. I mean, and also, and when if you do relapse, pay attention to all the things that really care or show that they care, because that'll help you build emotion. Because if you're really sorry for what you did, and you may have lied to some people and relapsed, uh, it's always better to look at your emotions right there. How do you feel about that, and do you want to keep on feeling like that? And you know, uh, if you gather that and you really have a heart and you really want to quit, you need to quit. That's where it comes. Envy and not letting others down. And if you have, don't be ashamed. Just feel bad for what you did. Like don't what I mean by don't get ashamed is like don't like me, I'm suicidal, and if I relapsed, there's a I could pity myself so bad that I ended up killing myself. And that's not good. Like, yeah, you always, even though you relapsed, you still got to get up and dust yourself off if you're serious. This is one thing that if you're not serious, you'll never make it in the world of sobriety because it's evil. I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't care who you are, how old you are, anything like that, whether you're homeless or you got a house or you got a job or maybe you got your own job. The addiction doesn't care about all that. All it wants is you to keep spending money if you want to remain to feel like that. And I would go on big alcohol binges and meth binges and mixing the two together. Um, and every time that uh, I didn't at first care. Yeah. Like at first I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and relapse. And then after I do, I don't feel bad about what I did to people or how they feel about me or anything like that. I just didn't care. Uh, and when I stopped going to meetings, and because I was going to this one meeting, I'll just go ahead and tell you about it. I was going to this one meeting online because I stopped going to the rooms because I kept hearing about God. I didn't want to hear about God. I just wanted to hear about how to get sober. Well, I was going to these meetings online, and uh, I shared. He didn't. The chairperson didn't say anything on my share, and he let somebody immediately go next before he could share on my share. And then he shared on that guy's share but skipped mine and called on somebody else. I typed to him and I said, "Man, you are an asshole." And I've never been to a meeting room again. And the good thing is when the thing first began, I still kept remaining sober at the beginning of this. And it just kept going. And then it got to the part where I was just like, you know what? Those meetings were nice and everything. They were a tool. But now it's time for me to face this on my own. Let me see what I've got. And it's always good to have a job too, because you see, a job a job is a good thing to have because you get to earn your way into society and be able to get all these things. And if you're homeless, go to a shelter. I mean, the only reason why people can't go to a shelter is because they drink or do drugs. And they piss test you at some shelters and take breathalyzers at some shelters. And just stop doing all that. Get you a job. It also keeps you busy to where you don't have any free time really to think about drinking. And then the money you earn when you get it, if you don't think about drinking the whole time like I did, and you get your first paycheck, you won't go for alcohol. You won't. It's like quitting smoking, really. Like, no, it takes 72 hours for nicotine to get out of the body, and then it's just habit. You see, a lot of addiction, I believe, is just habit. That's another thing. Because it's still a thought in our mind. We can say no and still do it anyway because our body is used to that. But one thing when that happens that people don't realize is you had a choice to make there. It was still you in the end who wanted to go drink. Because you can always turn around. Like when I told you all about how when I think of alcohol, I go like that because I mean I've been away from it for so long that I know what it still tastes like, and then if I imagine that taste on my tongue, it makes me sick. Yeah, I have come to the point that alcohol is no longer a major factor in my life. And trust me, I tried it the God way too. I prayed to Jesus and God, which is God too, because Jesus is God, for him to take my alcoholism away and meth addiction, and so where I could treat my parents better, even though they were treating me like shit. Well, nothing happened. It even got to the point to where at the end of my Christianity, when I got down on my knee to pray again one night, the thought came to my mind: is this gonna even work? I had given it so many opportunities that I was just tired of it. Yeah, I'm not going to keep giving opportunities to something, especially if it ain't working. Because for one reason why it couldn't be working, one simple reason is what if it's not real? You know, Satanism, it doesn't tell me to look at a deity, except myself, really. I mean, I make all my decisions. I have to accept the responsibility of them decisions too, and the consequences and everything else that comes along with it. The Christian Bible doesn't tell you to do that. It actually basically, Christian Bible basically tells you that you are nothing without Jesus or God. But God and Jesus are one. So they're both. Okay, enough of that. But anyways, you still make your decisions. You do. And that's all that addiction is a decision. I mean, people can say, oh, it's an illness. No, it's not an illness. It's a mental condition to where if you give in to your desire and you decide to drink or do drugs, it's still your decision. But the thing is about these decisions is I know that they happen really fast. That's when you got to learn to take control of yourself. Yeah, you got to. Because without control, very little will ever get done. Yeah, you can't expect to get anything without some form of control. And how I say it is because the very thing in it, the beginning of it, is control. You say, but addiction controls too. It doesn't control. It just appears to look like it's controlling you. It's like me and my cigarette habit. Two every hour. That's it. Sometimes I get out a little out of control. I've smoked like three in 1 hour, but that very rarely happens. I can normally gain control of myself real quick. Yeah, I can say nope, it's not time. I've even lit up a cigarette when I wasn't supposed to and put it out. Yeah, and saved it till it was time. And then I lit up that cigarette that I lit up, and that's all I'm gonna have for that one 30-minute period. Because like I said, I have two an hour. Uh, One thing I'd also like to relax on is the way I drink coffee. Because boy, it tastes too good to drink it that fast. Yeah, I love coffee. I don't know about you guys, but I know coffee makes my day. You know, if I was into alcohol and meth, I wouldn't have coffee right now. I wouldn't have anything. I'd be on the street, probably kicking a can, uh, wondering when I'm gonna get high again. Hey, that rhymes. Yeah, but what the points when I'm on the street, that's my choice too, because I made the choice to get fucked up instead of taking care of my responsibilities. That's how I'd end up on the street. Yeah. You can get to a point, some people say, well, I got a job, I'll never go homeless. I don't care if I'm addicted, but you will. Because if you look at it, whenever you do a substance, you do more and more and more and more every time you do it. You're like, oh, that wasn't good enough. I guess I got to do it again. See, it's a choice. It, you know, how are people born like that? Well, genes are a factor in like the people live. They got to have genes of their parents. And so when they come out, uh, their bodies are a kind of addicted. But the only reason why I say kind of is because it hasn't met the substance yet. Alcoholism runs in my family. I wasn't addicted though until I had got my first beer at 9 years old, and then that was my road to addiction. Yeah, my mom and dad gave that first beer to me, knowing that alcoholism runs in our family. Yeah, I figured out drugs uh, later on in life, and when I did that, uh, yeah, I loved it immediately. The methamphetamine, man, it made me feel so good. But you know what? That feeling good ended up getting me to being homeless. So you can't say just because you have a job you'll never end up homeless if you're addicted. It can happen. I'm a human being. Human beings have one thing in common. They live like human beings. Human beings are full of mistakes. You know, I also, my mom and dad, this is another thing about families. My family didn't care I became sober because I did it with Satanism. I guarantee they still think I drink. They probably still think I do drugs. Nah. That's what they get for assumptions, though. Their assumptions suck. But I don't let that get me down. Just because I don't have a family that I can turn to, except I do got one, though. My wife, her mom, her dad, and her brother have been the best family that a man could ever have. And, but my blood family doesn't give a shit about me. And I don't care. I used to care what others thought of me. You'll grow out of that too. When you get out of addiction, yeah, you'll grow out of that. You see, because when we first drink or do drugs, you know, we think we are somebody. Yeah, until it turns into, why do I gotta live like this? Yeah, I got tired of what others thought about me real quick when I sobered up. Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you on this computer either. You know what I'd done with this computer? Tried to give it to the dope man. I'd have done that a long time ago. That'd have been way before I made this video. Yep. You know, and I still have that choice too, just because I quit because of fentanyl's going in it. I still have that choice though, to where I could go out and get it, but I'm not. Why? You know, and plus you do it, so what? You get high, you get drunk, now you're out of money, wishing that you had money. You know, I got money in my expenses right now. Could never say that in my addiction. Yeah, and the religion thing, and you know, sobriety, it doesn't have to be Satanism for you to quit. All you got to do is realize that you are your master. Yeah, that's it. Don't, yeah, if you got these religions with gods in it and everything, don't go towards it. I'm warning you, it's not good. It's not going to help you. It might it might like motivate you mentally, but there's going to be problems. Because, you know, every religion, how they talk to you is Jesus cares about you and all this and that. And he wants to do this for you. And he has these plans for you and all these other stuff. It's not true. The reason they talk to you like that too when you first begin is to make you want to come back to that church and give your tithes. Because you ask any pastor why he really does it, he'll say for the money. I guarantee it. They don't have to worry about their vehicle. Pastor also doesn't have to worry about his house. He doesn't have to worry about money because everybody's giving it to him. Yeah, how I know about that is there was this one time I went to this church in Paris, Tennessee, and this pastor, he it was Pastor Appreciation Month, and he gave his tithe out first, and then he gave out the Lord's tithe after his, and he told the people, if you can't trust God with your money, what can you trust him with? Just to get them to put in there. That is fucked up. Yeah, don't go towards religion. If you can't go towards a religion that tells you that you are in control, if you can't go towards that, then don't go towards religion at all. Religion can be very deceiving unless you know, unless you have some kind of idea at first what it's talking about, then you can grow your wisdom. But if you don't have any idea at all what it's talking about, it's probably not a good thing. Yeah. But anyways, This video is getting to be 30 minutes long. It's time for me to smoke a cigarette. And hail Satan and hail yourselves and have a nice day.